All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the CHB Podcast. Today I'm joined with Relly, and we're going to be honest. We have been trying for the last hour to get this podcast to work. We haven't been able to do it. I don't know. Zoom shut itself on my computer. We couldn't hear Relly speaking from my point of view. I don't know what happened. We got it to work somehow. And I mean, now we're here, right?
Yeah, it's about
We,
time.
we made it happen. It's going to be a bit of a shorter episode today, but we've still got heaps of stuff to cover, I reckon. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, because holy shit, has there been a lot of Golden State Warriors news recently. And I want to hear all your thoughts and opinions on everything that is being said right now. First of all, we know the Warriors have about, I think they've got 12 players contracted or so. One or two more to prove their roster spot, but at the end of the day, they could still probably sign two guys. There is a report going around by Sean Devaney that does suggest that the Golden State Warriors could be interested in Carmelo Anthony. What do you reckon about that one? Is that a good move for the Warriors?
You know what? That would actually, I think so. Get another seasoned vet, get a player who's really great offensively, cheap, another role player, something to come off the bench. He understands his role. I think so. And actually, that would be kind of perfect because the build-up has been kind of crazy. It started off with Draymond saying that, Carmelo was essentially, he was better than KD,
Yeah.
with that body frame. So I can actually see that. Personally, I think Golden State has the best team to complement Carmelo Anthony. And now Carmelo Anthony is not going to be the best shooter on the team, which is better because now Carmelo can be Carmelo Anthony.
Yep.
So, this is going to be – that would be a crazy move.
I do
Unexpected,
see some
but that'd be
issues,
crazy.
though. I have a
Really?
feeling Carmelo could disrupt the ball movement.
You think so?
That's my everyone always talks about, but when he got to Portland, he made their, bench, and when he started, he made them so much better, right? But the thing is, on Portland, the number one thing he straight up did, like if you go and watch his game where he dropped 20 points in his second game for Portland or whatever, nearly every single point was off isolation plays. This guy constantly isolates. He has that triangle offense going. And I mean, all the Lakers did this season was the triangle offense. I swear that's nearly the only thing they ran like the whole entire year. And it makes me wonder though, Carmelo's that dude who's been doing that same offense for the last couple of years. How would he go on the Warriors system that's so like built off ball movement? They're swinging the ball back and forth on the 3-point line. So many screens are being set here and there. Do you think Carmelo would he be able to adjust to that straight away, or would he continue to isolate? Because I don't think they'd want him to isolate at all.
I think he can actually do both, honestly, because Jordan Poole, to an extent, is an example of that.
Yeah.
And I think as long as they have Draymond and Iguodala, as long as they got those vets, I think Carmelo will be perfectly fine. Now, obviously, he's not going to be running triangle in Golden State.
I hope not.
But I do believe if he runs the ISO now, they're just going to run more screens for him. That is going to free him up. And I mean, I think you've seen a little bit of glimpses of him being a catch and shoot shooter now in Los Angeles Lakers too with Bron. Now, you got to understand he is doing this for Bron. This is one of his closest friends. So doing a role like that is probably nothing to him for LeBron James. But when you're basically going to a team who's already destined or considered to be next year's championship contender favorites, I think that's another motivation for Carmelo Anthony. Because, I mean, if ever since Portland, we've seen a new Carmelo Anthony, right? We've seen where people were saying he was selfish. And from Portland to LA, this is a role player a lot of teams is fiend for. So I think he'd be okay. I do think it might be shaky a little bit because, I mean, he will be coming off the bench with Jordan Poole, who's, is an ISO player too.
Yep.
But I do think if they kind of stack the minutes or stagger the minutes with Draymond Green, I think that kind of helps things. Because I do think a guy like Draymond Green is the right type of player around Carmelo Anthony. Because Carmelo Anthony likes mean and gritty guys who he can respect. That's Draymond Green. He's gonna talk. He's gonna be like, hey man, and I mean, and he got to respect it. He's a champion. Carmelo Anthony like those type of guys. So I think he'd be great. And I think you would really see how beneficial Carmelo Anthony is in the playoffs. Yep. Because when they are down, let's say a Jordan Poole, God forbid that happens, but when they are down at Jordan Poole, you get that veteran who understands how to create a basket that has to be on a catch and shoot. Because
even
a lot of teams
do Clay got hurt as well. Even if something like that happened, again, you don't want to say it's going to happen, but inevitably they always have an injury or two here and there.
And now you have another threat. Because honestly, you can honestly say, to a degree, this is why KD was never any like a rupture to the Golden State system, because the Golden State, like, their offense was already so dangerous. It was nothing really to penalize that offense. Like they're too well coached, they're too seasoned, they've won too many championships for one player to truly break their offense. Now, on a defensive side, maybe, you know what I'm saying, I can understand how that could potentially be kind of worrisome, but on offense, they're not going to encounter no problems.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that.
I agree with what you said about his 3-point shooting as well. I feel like his 3-point shooting and from the catch and shoot, that low-key not only improved in Portland, but as soon as he got to the Lakers where he kind of had to, you know, sit around LeBron, I feel like that low-key really improved as well, and it's not something that people talk about. Like, his stats are near, I think it's 38 to 40%, which is really good numbers, and there are a lot of times now where that is on the catch and shoot. So, if you're putting him in that Golden State Warriors system, I do think there could be times where he maybe does disrupt it, but at the same time, if he's feeding off a dude like Draymond Green and he is really going there with the purpose of knowing that he is going to have to, you know, run what they call their system and not, you know, the same thing that he saw at the Lakers and Portland last season, I think it would be a good signing. I just do worry a little bit, though, on whether or not he will fully adapt, because I don't want to see him backing down dudes in Golden State. I don't think it would work. I don't think they're going to want to see it, and it would just be a terrible look considering how good their system has been for a couple of years. But he could do it every now and then. I'm not saying he couldn't, but honestly, I just don't want to see those games that he did have in Portland where he was always, you know, trying to do those isolation plays. We see Jordan Poole do that enough, and my God, some of the shots I see Jordan Poole take are they're pretty funny. So I don't want to see two of that really. So that would be my issue. But bringing in that 3-point shooting would help. The veteran leadership, defense might be an issue, but he's still capable of averaging 10 plus a game. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Like, I just like, from my perspective, I just don't truly see it being a problem. Like when you just look at the players Golden State has had on their team, and just like, as much as so as Andrew Wiggins, to a degree, Andrew Wiggins was kind of the archetype of what you're talking about. And that's not a problem for him. Actually, it kind of helped them in the long run because they needed a player like that. And you put Carmelo Anthony on the bench. Now, if this was defense, I think you got me. I just don't. Now, I will say, one thing that does kind of would have me a little nervous is if Draymond were to go out, because I do think you have to have like an enforcer in there that kind of balance those type of egos. But I think right now, like, if you tell me everybody's healthy in a perfect world and we're at least gonna have Draymond on the floor, Curry on the floor, and I think those two players is good enough to make that work. Like, we've seen them work with KD, we've seen them work with Harrison Barnes, we've seen them work with Andrew Wiggins, we've seen them work with Jordan Poole, and they've made it happen. Actually, they made them look better. So I truly think, honestly, in the regular beginning, it might be a little shaky. But when they get closer to playoff time, I'm telling you, this is going to be a monster if they get Carmelo Anthony.